I were promoting us, it'd be different. Oh, we're in, huh? And we are live. Welcome to the MLB Strategy Show. It is Thursday, July 6th. I am Josh Engelamn. I'm joined by Adam Scherer. We're brought to you by Sleeper. And while it may look like there is a 7-game slate tonight, there is not. It is a 6-game slate. Even if you're me and you prepped all morning until about 9:40 and then realized that you needed to drop one of those games from everything you did, that's what it is. So we've got 6 games tonight, 3-game early, kind of a gross Thursday in general, but that doesn't matter to us. We're here one way or the other. There are still contests to play, and that's exactly what we're going to do. So hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you know when everything goes live. Follow us both on Twitter. Adam, what's up?
How's it going? Just got an eagle from my highest owned golfer, so things are looking good.
Who's that?
Chris Kirk.
Nice. Isn't he the wide receiver?
Yeah, for the Jags.
There we go. I did not play golf. I thought about it. I woke up this morning and looked at it, and then I realized that I had missed it.
Yeah.
So that was it.
Yeah, I registered last night. Didn't feel like making lineups last night, so I set my alarm for like 5:45 to get up and make them. Woke up, saw the start time had changed from 6:45 to 7:45. Went back to sleep for an hour, and then got my lineups in with about 20 seconds to spare.
Yeah, I didn't care enough. I'll play Showdown on the weekend. We've got UFC Saturday. We got UFC Saturday. That'll be fun. Pay-per-view.
Yeah, I'm over UFC. That's like
interesting. Is it because you're not the champ? This should be good. You salty?
No, it's like I'm still just. It's the one like model and everything that I have that I still don't really like.
I mean, you could do something about that, right?
Yeah, but it's like it's a once a week sport. I kind of just don't care.
The one sport that you have the trophy for in the background of your video, and you're just like, I'm good now. I don't want to do the 40 more minutes of work to like what I do.
Well, I mean, I know it's not relatable for you, but sometimes when you reach the top of the mountain, the thrill of it just stops being there.
It's funny how you didn't reach the top of the mountain. They sent you a trophy for it anyway. But there was definitely someone standing on your shoulders. Pay-per-view, though, this Saturday. Bo Nickel back to bludgeon some stranger.
I also just hate the large field MMA format and tournaments and all of it.
I mean, it usually ruins my day.
Yeah, like I like.
I don't ever enjoy the sweat.
I like small field MMA. I just have never, I don't like Showdown in general, which MMA essentially is. Yeah, I like the small field stuff. I never really liked the massive field.
Fair. Yeah, whoever Bo Nickel was supposed to fight dropped out like a couple days ago, so they got somebody else in now. I think he's like the biggest favorite in the history of the UFC.
He'll score too, is the thing.
Probably, yeah.
But it'll probably. It's gonna be like the issue might be. Yeah, take 5 points for the takedown, 90 for the first minute win, and you're done.
Well, that's the problem. Maybe he doesn't get the first minute. Like maybe the fight goes.
Or sorry, I'm at first round. Like, take down in the first minute. Win outside of the first minute, 95 points.
Yeah. He has it, and I haven't looked at the pricing at all, but I assume he's the most expensive fighter. Right. So like it does become a little tricky because you expect him to win immediately, right, but he kind of has to win immediately.
Right. I mean,
he's not going to get there on volume. He's not going to get 6 takedowns in the first round. The guy's not getting back up.
Right, exactly. Yeah, no, that's all, and that's always the thing when you get the massive favorites. Like it's one thing when you get an expensive fighter, but they're like in a fight that's gonna at least be kind of real. Yeah. When you get the minus $1 billion favorites, it's like, so I need them to win, but then also not win so easily that they barely score points.
Yeah, and it's tough for like what I was just saying. It's tough for Nickel because you have once he gets you down, this level of fighter, not getting back to
it was
he needs a blade or something.
At the live final, there was the Michael Morales fight where he was like 9,800 or whatever and like 60% owned, and I didn't play him, and we're just sitting there sweating it like, all right, get out of the first minute. Like, okay, we're good.
Oh man, I'm excited for it this weekend. We have Volk. That should be fun. Always fun to watch Volk fight. I just want to see him get Islam again. Like that's a path that I want. Anyway, I want to talk some baseball.
Yep.
All righty, let's get into it. Oh man, I'm gonna sneeze. Maybe not. Good news is, at least on this, I haven't even looked for the early slate. I don't know who plays at all. We don't have to deal with the Braves being twice as owned as they're supposed to be.
Yeah, they're not on the early slate either.
Okay, good.
Yeah, early slate is Reds, Nats, A's, Tigers, and Cubs, Brewers. Yeah.
The stupid Nats games and Orioles games are really like ruining my life for blackout reasons.
You're blacked out from O's and Nats.
Yeah. I posted the screenshot.
I remember that. Yeah, because I said I was going to have you
of the map. It was just like 500 miles from here, man.
Yeah, I remember that now.
It's insane.
I'm not even blacked out on the Nats. I don't. No, I probably am.
You have to.
I just get them on cable.
I was gonna say, like, if you're not blacked out to the Nats, something broke.
Yeah, no, I was thinking that I can watch the Nats whenever I want, but it's because I just turn on the TV.
Yeah, no, I can't get either one of them, which is so annoying. And I know people, I can find streams or VPNs or whatever. I'm talking about just being able to use my television in the fastest way possible. Just click on the game and go. I'd pay for it. Just let me pay more. Right. I'd pay for like just the sanity for it. Like just whatever. Yankees, Orioles, 4.3 run implied total for the Yankees, 4.6 for the Orioles.
Are you blacked out when they're in New York?
I'm blacked out when they're everywhere. Okay. Everywhere. Yeah, everywhere. I need those idiots to just play each other. Luis Severino going for the Yanks. Kyle Bradish going for Baltimore. 22% ownership coming into Severino. He is 6,900. 33% ownership coming into Bradish. He is 7,200. Start with Bradish, I guess, because of the ownership. Do you think this sticks around?
What's he at right now?
33.
Probably. It's a good price tag. It's a good matchup. It's not a big slate. I still had the PGA top golfers tool ups instead of pitching, but yeah, I mean, 23% chance of being a top two pitcher, 32% ownership. We have him third highest in top two pitcher percentage. We have him second or third highest in top two value percentage. One of the guys beating him is Carrasco against Arizona, and the other is Oviedo against the Dodgers. So as far as names people are going to be trying to click on, I think he's pretty much at the top of the list amongst value guys. There's not a lot at the top. I mean, Tanner Bybee's got the highest top two pitcher percentage on the slate. Urias is second on probably some sort of pitch count. It's not a very good pitching slate at all. The best pitchers have really tough matchups. So I think Bradish probably does get a lot of ownership. You get the watered down Yankees lineup, still missing Judge. It's just not a very good lineup right now. Volpe is hitting well. Homered again yesterday. Bullshit fly ball to right, but it counts because it was Yankee Stadium. 22% strikeout percentage to righties this year for Bradish. 193 expected ISO is about 60 points higher than his actual. It's important to keep in mind just because going from Camden Yards to Yankee Stadium for right-handed power is a really, really big downgrade for Bradish. But at that price, I'm not too concerned about it.
Is he that much of a better option than Severino? Bless you, by the way.
Thanks. Probably.
Okay.
I mean, the Orioles lineup is better. Severino's still getting 22% ownership. It's not like it's a really big gap in ownership. Severino hasn't been good this year. He's giving up power to both sides of the plate. He's not getting as many strikeouts as he did in the past. So like there is still that underlying talent that he's always had, but this is somebody that has dealt with a lot of injuries and hasn't been that good this year. Lefties this year.
Can I add something quick? I don't want to forget to say this.
Yeah.
The ownership for both of these guys is going to change, and I think Bradish is going to come down. Assuming Framber Valdez is starting for Houston, he is not in our ownership right now, but we're allocating 200% across the board to the other 11 guys, and Valdez is going to be making up like a quarter of that. So this will come down in the aggregate. Apologies. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I think that's a good point. But yeah, I mean, Severino is only striking out 18% of hitters overall this year. He struck out 14.3% of lefties, 231 expected ISO, 401 expected WOBA. Don't have an Orioles lineup yet, but very likely that you're going to have Henderson, Rutschman, Santander, O'Hearn, Mullins, Hicks, and Cowser probably all hitting 1 through 7 again. Now, this team has been ice cold. They kind of woke up in like the 7th inning and later yesterday, but they haven't been hitting well for a while now, but it's still good hitters, good left-handed hitters in Yankee Stadium. It's the price tag on Severino is somewhat interesting just because he did used to be good, but he's done nothing this year to suggest he's remotely good. He's not limiting power. He's not limiting runs. He's not getting strikeouts. Like there's not even that one thing you can point to and say like, yeah, well, he is good at this. It just hasn't existed.
I've got Severino by a little bit, by 0.2 of a fantasy point, and then just thinking Bradish is at least a little bit overowned. I don't mind either side. The implied run total will be something that I really want to pay attention to here.
That's wild to me that you have Severino projected higher than Bradish. And like I know why it is, because that's how projections work with guys, but like has been flat out bad this year.
Yeah, I mean, Steamer loves him. 23% K rate, 4.14 FIP. Like, we're talking about a guy that doesn't represent 2023 right now.
Right. Yeah, I mean, we have Bradish a point higher, but like when you look at them for the season, 23% strikeout percentage for Bradish, 6.5% walk percentage, 3.83 xFIP, compared to an 18% strikeout percentage. So Bradish is striking out. He has a 5-point advantage in strikeouts. 9.5% walk percentage for Severino, so 3-point advantage for Bradish there. 5.29 xFIP is a run and a half higher than Bradish, and Bradish gets to face the worst offense.
Let's talk about the offenses. We have the Orioles 6th in ownership. We've got the Yankees 11th. That's about where both teams are in our top stacks tool. Which side do you prefer?
I prefer the Baltimore side. I mentioned all the power that Severino has given up, and they're not that expensive. Henderson, Rutschman, Santander, Mullins are all expensive, but you're going to have O'Hearn most likely batting cleanup at 3,600. Hicks, if he's in the lineup, is 2,700. Kowser is still minimum salary at 2K. He looked good right out of the gate yesterday. First at bat, lined out on a 108-mile-an-hour ball right to Anthony Volpe. Grounded out his second at bat, RBI single off a lefty reliever, his third at bat. But the thing that, and he look, you saw with Westberg when he came up, Kowser looked the part yesterday. The plate discipline of these guys coming up for the Orioles has just been so impressive. And not to say they're all going to just rake right out of the gate, but you have such a better chance of succeeding against the improved pitching when you can discern a ball from a strike and not put yourself in bad counts constantly. And Kowser was just laying off good breaking stuff yesterday. Like, he looked exactly like he did at AAA. So I do think, you just kind of see him step right in, just like you did with Westberg, just like you did last year with Henderson, and have success. So really do like that he's only 2K still.
I don't have much of this game. I'm neutral to the Yankees, basically. I'm neutral to the Orioles right now, essentially. I'm just lighter on Bradish than anything else. I'm neutral to Severino as well. And that's at least based on the run total that I see, that's about where I want to be for this game. I kind of like all 4 parts. Well, I don't even know if like's the right word, but I think that you kind of have to touch all 4 parts.
Yeah, I think all 4 parts certainly have upside. I didn't mention the Yankees bat specifically, but I did mention that Bradish has gotten pretty lucky with right-handed power this year. Not that his expected numbers are terrible, but a 190 expected ISO, and now you're in Yankee Stadium. There is power in this lineup, and they are pretty cheap. So from a value standpoint, the Yankees probably look a little bit better. One other thing to keep in mind, and it's not something that we talk about a lot because it is just baked into the implied run totals, the Yankees bullpen is really good. Like, if Severino can get them 5 or 6 innings, the Orioles are probably done hitting if it's a competitive game. You kind of have to hope that you get to Severino to the point where not only are you accumulating a lot of fantasy points against him, but the Yankees aren't bringing their best relievers in. And you sort of have the same thing with the Orioles. The middle of their bullpen isn't as good as the Yankees, but if you get through 7 innings and it's a competitive game, and then you're just getting Cano and Bautista on the back end, like, you're not getting add-on runs.
Rank the game?
Bradish, Orioles, Yankees, Severino.
I think I'm going to be going Severino, Bradish, Orioles, Yankees. I hate it all, though.
I really like, and I don't do it. I've said it before because, like, more often you're just doing more harm than good. I really would like to just take everyone's Severino projection and just take 20% off of it.
Yeah, it's not. I don't love what I see. I mean, look, here's the easiest way to describe it. Here are the previous 3 strikeout rates for Severino. You get 35, 36, last year 28, this year in 40 innings, 18. Something's different. You don't just lose 9.5% of your K rate for
unless you're Shane Bieber.
Yeah. Something's different there too. But it's not a velocity thing.
Yeah, velocity's still there.
It's not even like a pitch type thing. Like, he's not really throwing anything different.
He's throwing his slider half of his career average. He's throwing his slider 15% of the time this year. His career average is 31.5%. Last year, he threw it 20%.
Yeah.
The year before that was 27.5, 27, 36, 35. He has started throwing a cutter also that he's throwing like 9% of the time. He threw it 9% last year as well, but it is a different pitch. You can tell by the velocities. He's throwing his changeup more than his career average. That's something he started doing in 2021 also. So it does look a little bit different, but it's still not something you would expect to explain this. So like I do think that the strikeout numbers come up, but we are also talking, what, 8 starts now this year that he's just not striking guys out.
Yeah. I know the moment that I make like an individual change, it's just gonna, like, Severino's gonna go out there and pitch like it's 2019. Oh, okay.
And so I guess, it is only 8 starts. I hadn't actually looked. Let's see who he's faced, because sometimes that'll kind of give you an answer. I don't think that's likely.
Yeah, no, I agree. Well, Reds, Padres, Dodgers, White Sox, Mets, Red Sox, Rangers, Cardinals. Yeah, that is not an easy 8 games.
No, it's not easy. So, that's probably contributing. It's still not explaining that huge difference, but
no. Look, it's still a 6 ERA. It's a 6 FIP. It's a 5.30 xFIP. Like,
right. Well, and the other thing to keep in mind too is I keep getting ads and I can't figure out where they're coming from.
Born, man.
Yeah.
Close your hidden tabs or whatever.
The thing to keep in mind too is that strikeout percentage is the percentage of hitters you're striking out. So like if you're just getting hit harder too, your strikeout percentage is going to go down. Like if you're giving up more hits.
Yeah, that's a very true statement. If you can't get anybody out, it's hard to get any strikeouts either. You've already given up the double.
Right, but I'm saying like compared to case per 9.
Yeah, for sure.
Which is also down, but
yeah, none of it's good.
Right. Yeah, none
of it's good.
His walk percentage is 2 points higher than last year. He's just been bad across the board, but he is likely to be better rest of season than he has been to date.
The game log sheet on FanGraphs has exit velocity listed, but for a brief moment, I thought it was pitch velocity, and I was like, oh shit, he lost 6 miles per hour from his last game. I was like, well, I think we found it, and then I was just like, oh, that's not the same thing. It's actually better to see it low. But when I saw it went from 94.5 to 88.3, and I was like, oh, okay, well, like he's gonna need Tommy John after the end of the day. Right. So that's not how that works. Guys, hit that like button. 180 people, 40 likes. It's early. Schedule for the rest of the day. Underdog NFL live show coming up at 4 p.m. MLB Deeper Dive coming back at 5. Adam will be back with that one with Laffy. And then MLB Live Before Lock from 6 o'clock to 7 o'clock. What I really want you guys to do, though, sign up for the lineup generator. 50% off for your first week using the promo code SCORE. It's going to cost you less than $5, $4.48, I believe. We handle all of the creation of the lineups on the back end. We get rid of anything that we don't think is a good value for you. We present the rest to you. Lineup will pop up on the screen. If you like it, click save. If you don't, click discard. You can pick your stack sizes. You could lock players in. You could swap players around once the lineup is generated. Save up to 20 and export them to CSV. This is a fantastic tool for you. If you're interested in making slightly better lineups than you currently do, I think the lineup generator is what you're looking for. But the real appeal here, it's less than $5. If you hate it, you cancel during the first week, and that's all you're out. $4.48. That is the appeal of the deal here. But this is I think probably like the best cost per, or like value per. This is the best value play that we have, the lineup generator. This is the pay down option. This is the NBA version of the starting point guard is out. John Morant is out because he was waving a gun on Instagram. Tyus Jones has to start at 4K. That's what the lineup generator is. It's a no-brainer. You just want to use it. So click the link in the description if you can. All right, let's keep it moving.
Where do you think game ends up?
I mean,
have you seen the most recent quote-unquote report?
No.
That his agent is calling every team that isn't Miami, telling them that if they trade for Lillard, they're getting an unhappy player.
Who cares is what I would say. It's so dumb. It just seems like it's Miami. I don't know how it's Miami.
I think a lot, right. And it seems like a lot depends on like how true is the report that Portland does not want Tyler Hero.
It should be very true.
I know it should be.
Yeah, like there's no scenario. To me, there's no scenario where Tyler Hero ends up playing for the Portland Trailblazers this year. I don't know how that happens. They have too many Tyler Heroes already.
Right. He has to end up somewhere else and they get something. But
or like Simons has to be going out too, which is just like, well, what's the point of all of this stuff?
Why would you do that?
Yeah. So
I want him to go to Brooklyn.
Dame?
Yeah.
I don't.
I think it'll be fun.
I don't. To me, that's just like a lateral move.
Maybe, but
what like Portland has been, not necessarily like what they are at this particular moment. Like I don't think he goes to Brooklyn and they have any chance to do anything anyway.
My thinking is if Bridges really is that guy, like they could actually take a step.
I like the idea of exploring Boston. I don't know how that actually ends up shaking out. I love the fit in Miami. Like, I just wish they had a different allocation of resources. I think the Bam, Dame, Jimmy trio is like a real problem in the playoffs.
Yeah. I really just don't want him to go there because I hate the Heat. I don't know why. I just like do not like them. It's like
I'll respect them a lot more if they have Dame, and I actually think they're like good.
Yeah, and I guess I would like them more if Dame's there because he's one of my favorite players. But yeah, it's just I don't know. Like I just hear Miami Heat and I just think bored. Like
yeah, well, they won't be as boring if they have Dame. That's for sure. I don't really know where I think he's going to end up though. Like Miami just seems so likely. It just seems so likely. Like I'd love to see him go to the team. I want him to go to the team that creates the biggest leap possible. Like it solidifies Miami. I think that's very interesting. There aren't too many other teams that I look at, and I think that would be fun. Zach Lowe was talking about like a Trae Young swap, which I think starts to get like really wild if you want to get out of the Trae Young business. Doesn't really help Portland at all, though. You're just trading one small guard for another small guard.
Yeah, and I mean, I think he ends up in Miami too. Like, I don't really know exactly how, but it just seems like it seems like one of those where you're just getting reports basically saying like, oh, the Blazers hate Miami's package, and Miami's like, well, we don't want to give up Caleb Martin, and then it just ends up being like, okay, deal got done.
I mean, if I'm Cleveland, I'm like sort of interested in being like, hey, do you want Darius Garland?
I don't know that I would want to give up Garland for him, though.
Well, they don't have the assets to actually get that done. And I don't think that like changes anything, but just turning Garland into Lillard in this moment is an upgrade for Cleveland. I just don't think it turns it into a title either.
Right. And the pieces that Cleveland would actually have to give up are guys like, I don't want to give up Mobley for Lillard. I don't want to give up Garland for Lillard.
No, I would give up Garland for Lillard.
I think the age thing is the problem.
If Cleveland were ready, like if that made them co-favorites in the East, then I'm giving up Garland for Lillard, and I'll deal with it. But I think
they're like a year or two out anyway.
They make that trade, they're still behind the Celtics and shit. So
yeah,
I don't know. It'll be fun. Boston Red Sox, Texas Rangers. Cutter Crawford going for Boston, 4.7 run implied total. Nathan Eovaldi going for the Rangers, 5.2 run implied total. Revenge narrative alert. 10% ownership coming into Crawford, 15 to Eovaldi. Who is the more properly owned player?
Probably Eovaldi. 15% there. Crawford getting 10. Really, really tough matchup against Texas. 5.3 implied run total for Crawford. One of the best offenses in baseball in Fenway Park. Wind looks like it's blowing out a little bit. Mid 80s. Good hitting weather. All of that applies, for Eovaldi against the Red Sox also, but he is a better pitcher than Crawford. The Red Sox are not as good offensively as Texas is. I don't love either pitcher when you factor in the salary or the matchup for Crawford and the salary for Eovaldi, but I think Eovaldi looks better.
Yeah, I would prefer Eovaldi for sure. We'll see what happens with the Astros to see what Eovaldi actually looks like at the top end. I have a hard time wanting to get to Cutter Crawford, though. This seems like a very, very difficult proposition. I don't have anything to really add for Crawford or Eovaldi at this point.
No, they're sort of just there. If this were a bigger slate, they wouldn't be getting ownership at all because it is a shorter slate. Eovaldi, he's good. 24.7% K percentage, 3.55 xFIP, less than a home run per 9. He goes deep into games. He is another one, to your point about Valdez. Like right now, we have 15% ownership coming into Eovaldi. If Valdez ends up being the starter for Houston against a strikeout-prone Seattle team in Houston as opposed to in Fenway. You're going to probably see that ownership on Eovaldi come down a bit and Valdez be more popular.
Let's talk bats here. We have the Rangers as the number one stack. I agree with that statement. They are number one in ownership as well. How do you feel about Texas on this slate?
They look pretty good. Cutter Crawford's not bad. 171 expected ISO to lefties with a 30% strikeout percentage. Only a 16.8% strikeout percentage to righties. 183 expected ISO is actually higher than it is to lefties. So, you certainly shouldn't be shying away from Semien, Garcia, Young, Duran, especially in this ballpark. And that's not to say that you can't play Seager, Lowe, Jonah Heim, because clearly they're all really, really good. But he's not a total gas can, but it is still good hitting weather, good hitters park, really good offense, 120 WRC plus on their active roster against right-handed pitching so far this season. They look very good if you can afford them.
Yeah, I agree with our top ranking. I am under on them. I think it's just easier to grab a couple other teams that have comparable run totals and a little bit less ownership. But this whole slate is going to change once we find out what's going on with Houston. I actually have more of Boston right now, which I don't totally love. Eovaldi is obviously talented. Boston, pretty cheap to get to, fourth in our top value. I had them third, but not off by all that much. They are fifth in ownership. What do you see when you look at Boston against Eovaldi?
Yeah, tough matchup, good park, good weather, all that. Still like a 4.6 to 4.7 implied run total. They are getting some ownership, I think, just because they are cheap, like you said. But it's also similar to yesterday where Jarren Duran's pulling 15%. Devers is pulling 12% at one of the cheapest price tags you're ever getting Devers at. So those guys are leading the way. The next most popular guy is Yoshida at 8.5%. So as a stack, they're not very popular. It's really just those two guys pulling ownership, and they do deserve it because they are just underpriced here. So I like the hitting conditions. I like the value component here. You once again, in their projected lineup, you have Yoshida and Devers, 4,700 and 4,900. Nobody else is more than $4,100 in their projected lineup. So it is a talented lineup at a cheap price tag. Also a tough matchup. So I don't mind them in tournaments. You can build very high upside lineups around them because they are cheap and they do have a lot of power. They're not that likely to succeed in this matchup, but sort of like I know you saw them yesterday. I ended up playing a good amount of Seattle stacks on the main slate, which was something I didn't expect to do. And when I saw it, I was just like, why the hell am I getting Seattle? And then I looked at the actual lineups and it was like, all right, well, they're in a bad spot, but I'm getting to 5 Seattle guys that have power. And then I'm just rounding this out with like some of the best hitters on the slate and all these lineups. So the ceiling for a lineup like that is really high, even if it's not going to come through all that often. That's sort of how I see it with Boston here against Eovaldi.
Yeah, let's see if I can get to it quickly. Because I know we were talking about it. Yeah, so I have some of it. It was just your 3 one-offs, so to speak. The first one you gave me the example was Devers, Correa, Buxton. Obviously, like, yes, right. That works perfectly. Kepler, Correa, Machado. So when you're getting those sorts of lineups, you are filling it out with the elite of the elite in the other.
Right. Yeah. You're getting like, it was, those kinds of bats. It was Lopez, Lugo. And then when you talk about, in this example, the Mariners, yeah, they were very unlikely to succeed, but you're still getting Julio Rodriguez, Teoscar Hernandez, Cal Raleigh. Like these guys can all do damage. And that's how Boston is here. They're not likely to do damage against Eovaldi, but your lineup, when you're thinking about it in terms of just how many home runs can this lineup hit, when you're getting Yoshida, Devers, Verdugo, Casas, Duran, and then you're surrounding that with the best one-offs on the slate, it's not hard to see how like that could just be a really high-scoring lineup.
Absolutely. Rank the game.
Texas, Boston, Eovaldi, Crawford.
Agreed. Guardians and Royals, 5.1 run implied total for the Guardians, 3.9 for the Royals. Tanner Babi and Jordan Lyles going in this one. We established it's Bibee, right?
Bibee, yes.
Yes, 49% owned right now at 8,700 against a Royals team that just doesn't seem to be able to get it together. Let's just start here. This seems like the best spot that you can find today, a combination of upside and price.
Yeah, it's basically the Pablo Lopez spot from yesterday, except Bibee isn't as good as Pablo Lopez. Yeah. So you are giving 50% ownership to a good but not great pitcher. Certainly not on the same level as Pablo Lopez, but he just stands out as the best combination of matchup, salary, ability. Now that does change a bit if Valdez gets the start. You probably do see, I already mentioned that he would cut into Evaldi's ownership. You probably see some of Bybee's ownership go to Valdez as well, because he would, I assume, project as, we have him in right now. We have him projected as the highest scoring pitcher by like 2.5, almost 3 points over Bybee. So that would change things quite a bit. Bybee will still be popular, but just not 50% popular. But he is a good pitcher, 24.4% K percentage this year. That's almost the same as Evaldi. 4.27 xFIP, less than a home run per 9, 3.6 implied run total for KC. Park that isn't great for hitting. It's supposed to be around 80 degrees, so not quite as warm as some of the other parks that we're going to talk about as well. Pretty bad KC offense. You don't have Pasquantino because he's hurt. Bybee certainly looks good.
Yeah, I have 63% right now. That's assuming Valdez is in. I gave Valdez like 50% ownership, so I'm still going to be getting there. To me, he's just, that price tag makes it so easy. There's been so many strikeouts in the Royals lineup. Lopez went insane yesterday, complete game shutout. I think he had 12 Ks, something over 10 for sure. Just an absolute domination performance. How do you feel about Jordan Lyles on the opposite side? Very exciting stuff.
Not looking to Lyles.
No, not so much. Other than it's a 6-game slate and like anybody can really show up, but he is not a priority.
Yeah.
Guardians, second in ownership, fourth in top stack, second in top value. I'm a little bit higher in both of those metrics. I love Cleveland here. I think Lyles is terrible. It's a decent enough power park. This is my favorite team today. I love the Guardians.
Yeah, they look good. Lyles is really, really bad. 5.4 implied run total for Cleveland. We've talked about it a bit recently. Like, they started out the year absolutely horribly as an offense. They, for a while, were the worst offense against right-handed pitching. You expected that to get better. They're never going to be, the Rangers or the Rays or anything like that, but they have good enough hitters, and they have started to come around a bit recently. Pricing is pretty favorable here. Jose Ramirez is 6K on DraftKings, but other than that, nobody's expensive. Kwan's 4,100. Jimenez is 4K. Everybody else in the projected lineup is less than that. Everybody from 5 through 9 in the projected lineup is sub 3K. Josh Naylor is banged up, missed yesterday's game. Not sure if he's on the IL or may be back today. But either way, like, if he's in, the lineup gets better. If he's out, the lineup gets a little bit cheaper, and you don't have to guess between Naylor and Bell at first base. So one way or the other, they look like a great combination of value, upside. We have them second in stack score. They look good.
It's going to be another day where I have all of the Jose Ramirez, and I just got to hope that he does the normal Jose Ramirez stuff instead of the things that he does when I actually roster him heavily.
Yeah.
Up to 6K now. Does make Rafael Devers look really good. Anyway, Royals side of this one. Kind of interesting to me. You get that massive ownership on Bybee. You get a team that, look, I'm not excited to get there, and there are a lot of holes in this Kansas City offense, but it is a 6-game slate. These guys are 10th of the 12 teams on the slate. Do you have, well, I don't even know why I'm asking you. Do you have any interest in the Royals?
Always. Yes and no. I mean, I don't think I think they're one of the worst stacks. Bybee is good, but he is right now projected for 50% ownership. My guess is that ends up going down to like 30, 35% if Valdez is starting. You still have upside at the top with Garcia, Witt, Melendez, Perez, Prado, Massey's cheap. So in large field tournaments, I think they're okay. But again, it's not a team that I'm looking at them and saying like, oh yeah, I think this is, a good spot for them or anything like that. 154 expected ISO to righties for Bybee, 111 to lefties. It's not even like he's a pitcher you can really look at it and say like, oh yeah, like, these lefties look great. It's just a ownership and leverage play if you go there.
Rank the game?
Bybee, Guardians, Royals, Lyles.
I agree. Nothing else to add there. So let's keep it moving. Once again, hit that like button if you haven't done it already. We're up to 60. No reason that we can't get up over 100 by the time we finish this one off. We got to talk a little bit about Sleeper. They are the presenting sponsor of this show. Easy sell for me. I love talking Sleeper because they're approaching it a little bit different. You still get the awesome deposit bonus. Click the link in the description, put in 100, you'll get another 100. That is exactly what you should do. You need to deposit at least 20, but you should put in 100, get double that money right out of the gate. The reason that I'm so interested in Sleeper is because as someone that is in a non-legal sports betting state for right now, This kind of approximates that in a big way. You can get 100x payouts. That's the highest for any of these pick'em sites. And they have dynamic payouts on the plays. So instead of just having even action like some of the other pick'em sites, if you're going over or under, in this case, you can get multipliers on those situations where maybe it's 2x or 3x or 4x to take an over, and you're getting a little bit less on the underside. That allows you to mix and match in a much more interesting way. It also opens up the opportunity for tons of additional stat categories, things that don't naturally have a nice 50-50 balance. Now you can set up multipliers and get even more action. Those are the things that are going to help you get all the way up to the 100x payouts. So if you can, click the link in the description of this video, sign up at Sleeper. Plenty of content at Stokastic/OddsShopper if you want even more plays for Sleeper. But to get there, you got to click the link in the description. 3 more games to go. And now's the one where we don't totally know how to talk about it. I saw the report on Fangraphs that this should be Framber Valdez. There is some ambiguity in that, at least as of right now. Nothing is official. We have George Kirby going for the Mariners. I loaded up the projected offenses for Houston and Seattle. I added in Valdez and Kirby as pitchers. So I have the line at Astros 4.1 run implied total, Mariners 3.2. So very low total for 2 high quality pitchers. Good offenses. 17% ownership coming into Kirby. In my opinion, I think we're going to see something north of 40% for Valdez if he's available. Let's just start with Kirby. How do you feel about him here against the Astros?
Really, I mean, it's a tough matchup. Not a lot of strikeouts. You still don't have Alvarez, so the lineup's weaker than usual. They still certainly have good hitters. Right now, we have Kirby with a 17% chance of being a top 2 scoring pitcher, 18% projected ownership. That ownership probably comes down a little bit if Valdez is in. I don't mind getting him. Like when you compare him to Julio Urias, who's getting 28% ownership, I don't really think there should be that big of a gap in ownership between the two. Kirby is a really good pitcher overall. 21.5% strikeout percentage, only walking 2.2% of hitters, 3.64 xFIP, great command. He's able to work deep in the games because he doesn't, he's very efficient with his pitches. So I'm a little surprised at the difference, both in projection and ownership between Urias and Kirby, just given the difference in how deep we can expect them to go into games. I mean, Julio Urias threw 66 pitches in 3 innings his last time out. That was his first start since the middle of May. The Dodgers are always cautious with him. Now, he gave up 5 runs, so maybe he would have gone a little bit deeper, but I don't think you're getting a 7-inning, 100-pitch game ever from Julio Urias today, which you absolutely can from Kirby.
I have a bit more Urias than Kirby. I have Urias by 1.5. I do think it's pretty close. This could all really change once we get a real line. Like if this is just a little bit higher, then I'll probably have them equal, and then I'll want the ownership from Kirby.
Right. So like how deep into this game are you projecting Urias to go?
I have Urias at... How did I make that symbol show up? That's new. I have Urias going 5.
Okay. I mean, I feel like that's probably as far as he is going to be allowed to go.
I could see bringing that down like an out or 2.
Right. Like I think I don't think there's anything wrong with 5. I don't think it should be higher than 5.
I hate Urias, man. I always just want that dude to be able to pitch deep, and like the Dodgers just don't do that shit.
Right. So yeah, I mean that's sort of my thing is, Urias has the better matchup and he is a good pitcher, but Kirby's a really good pitcher too, and he's pitch efficient. He's not on a pitch count like Urias almost definitely is. I mean, 4 straight starts of at least 6 innings for Kirby. He had one where he got lit up by the Padres, went 3 2/3, 8 innings previously. 90 to 100 pitches in pretty much every start where he doesn't get lit up. I just think he probably goes like on average like an inning more than Urias does.
You want to get to either offense in this game. Assuming it's Valdez, I think it's a pretty tough sell both sides.
Yeah, tough sell for sure. I mean, Valdez, you just pound the ball into the ground. He's good at getting strikeouts, doesn't give up power. I guess, you can make the case for the Mariners, the same thing that I just said about yesterday, where I didn't like them against Cobb, but I got to them just because they have good hitters. But Valdez is one of my least favorite pitchers to take hitters against. Kirby's not very far, behind Valdez on that list either. 124 expected ISO to righties. He has struggled some with lefties, only an 18% strikeout percentage, 199 expected ISO. Kyle Tucker is your lefty from the Astros. Obviously, he's really good. He looks like a good play individually. I would get to the Astros before the Mariners, assuming it's Valdez pitching, but neither offense is going to look that good.
And on the off chance that it happens to not be Valdez, like this entire game changes and like it'll get addressed on the deeper dive and live before lock, but it's just a completely different performance across the board. I have nothing else here. Rank the game, assuming it's Valdez.
Valdez, Kirby, Astros, Mariners.
All righty. That's easy enough. So, Adam, we have a Sims tool that's pretty damn good. And you do a Sims video every single day, Monday through Friday. You put the goods out. I assume we'll see that in the early afternoon today?
Yep. Sometime after the early slate locks.
There we go. And we talk about the Sims tool a lot. I know that the cost is high. It's $180 a month. We don't have a deal or anything going on, but I have to talk to you guys about it because it's just awesome. It's the newest tool that has hit the industry. And to me, it's the best tool that has hit the industry. Because now we're evaluating our lineups in a different way. It's not just coming out of an optimizer, oh, this is the highest projected lineup, so this is the best lineup. Now you're taking that entire pool of lineups, you're simulating them against each other, and you're using a payout structure so that you can determine expected ROI for these lineups. But it's not just the lineups. Individual players, are they positive value or negative value players? Stacks. Individual lineups, the amount of detail that we're creating in the MLB Sims tool for you to be able to evaluate, massive. This is a tool that is going to allow you to put better lineups in every single contest that you enter. And it's only going to get better as the days go on. I love the fact that it exists. It's there for PGA, which is incredible for me. I don't have a very good PGA setup. NBA will be here in October. NFL will be here in September. The Sims tools are the things that you need. Get used to it now. Check out the MLB Sims tool for the next month and see what you can get done. You want to be ready for it when you get to the NFL season, when you get to the NBA season. But right now, all you have to do, generate your lineups up to 2,000, pop them into the Sims tool. They all simulate against each other. You have all of the data at your fingertips. You could just immediately take your top 150 expected value lineups if you want. You could do other things if you want to go a different direction. You can pick them all individually if you want to. This is the future. Make sure you're getting in now. Sign up for the Sims tool. Just don't do it through the link that Adam will provide you. Well, we don't have White Sox Blue Jays on this slate since they're in the doubleheader from yesterday. So we've got Diamondbacks and Mets, 5.3 run implied total for the Diamondbacks, 4.7 for the Mets. Ryan Nelson going for Arizona. Carlos Carrasco going for New York. 9% ownership to Nelson at 6K, 6% ownership to Carrasco at 5,300. Which one of these not great pitchers do you want?
Neither. I think they're kind of the same play. Neither one's very good. Carrasco has at least had major league success in the past. He's not been good this year. Nelson's never been good. They both have tough matchups. You have a 5.3 implied run total for Arizona, 4.7 for the Mets. Right now we have Carrasco at 9.9 DraftKings points. We have Nelson at 10.7. Nelson a little bit more expensive. They're very, very similar plays to me. I guess I would get to Nelson first.
I have 3% of Nelson and none of Carrasco. So we're on the same page. Tons of Nelson.
Yeah. And to answer Chris Williams' super chat about the 2-game night slate for pitching, I think it's Urias is the clear one. And then Nelson, Carrasco, and Oviedo are kind of all the same thing.
Yeah.
So like I would say if there's an ownership gap, take whichever is the lowest owned, assuming we're talking tournaments.
I agree. Chris, thanks for that super chat, by the way. Let's talk bats here then. We have the Diamondbacks second in top stack, Mets third. I have the Mets third and the Diamondbacks fifth. We'll see how we actually end up there. But I do like this is an offense game. You kind of want both sides. I don't love the power potential in this park. I'm getting to a lot more of the Mets than the Diamondbacks. Which side of this one do you prefer?
I like them both. The Mets are, I think, a little bit more cost effective. We don't know. We obviously don't know the lineups yet, but if Ketel Marte is back, he's $5,900. Corbin Carroll's 62, Walker's 54, and that's, with Perdomo 4K leading off, Gurriel 4,800. Then the bottom of the lineup is cheap, but it's a really expensive 1 through 5 stack. Whereas you look at the Mets and you have Nimmo, Lindor, Alonso, 4,600, 4,900, 5,200 respectively. No other hitter in the projected lineup is above $3,900. So the stack on the Mets is just going to be more, cost effective. Nelson has really struggled with left-handed power this year. So looking to lefties, 236 expected ISO, 384 expected WOBA, only a 13.7% strikeout percentage. Nimmo, Lindor, McNeil, Vogelbach, Beatty are likely to be your left-handed hitters. You can obviously still go to Pham, Alonso, Marte, Alvarez. They have power. They have stolen base upside, some of them. So it's a high upside offense. The righties are still good, but the lefties look really good, and the Mets do have pretty solid ones. On the other side, Carrasco has struggled pretty much with everybody. 185 expected ISO to lefties, 262 to righties, 400 expected WOBA to righties, 369 to lefties. So you're not going to you're not downgrading the lefties really, but you also should not be shying away from Christian Walker, Gurriel in particular. Gabby Moreno at 2,700.
Luckily, I don't have to play 100% of Jeff McNeil like I did last night, where he had 0 fantasy points. 4 second basemen last night on the night slate. That is crazy.
You realize 4 second basemen would imply 25% and not 100%, right?
Yeah, but I already had a shit ton of the Mets, so he's locked into all of those lineups. So dumb, so dumb. Yeah, I've got a bundle of the Mets. They're my second most exposed stack. I'm still getting to Arizona, and I'm close to neutral, but I am a little bit lighter on them in the aggregate. We'll see where that all ends up shaking out. It's crazy. I wish Arizona was still like a crazy hitter spark.
Yeah, that was fun when it was. Yeah. That was a really fun period because it was before people got really good at DFS. And the people just didn't realize that it was essentially Coors Field outside of Colorado.
Yeah.
It's sort of like Cincinnati now, but people still play that park a lot. But yeah, I think the first ever live final seat I got at the Playboy Mansion for FanDuel was Colorado, Arizona, but in Arizona. And it was just a fraction of the ownership of what it would have been if it was in Colorado.
Nice. Rank the game.
Mets, Diamondbacks, Nelson, Carrasco.
All right. We are going to close this one out with the Dodgers. 5.3 run implied total for LA. 3.8 for the Pirates. Julio Urias and Johan Oviedo are the two pitchers here. Urias at 30% ownership, 8% going to Oviedo. I expect Urias's ownership to come down quite a bit if we do get Framber Valdez. But in this particular instance, he should be getting some ownership. He looks really good here against the Pirates.
Yeah, I just have an issue with the ownership given I don't know what his ceiling looks like. I have a hard time thinking he's going more than 5 innings today, just given that this is his second start since May. He only threw 66 pitches last time out, and the Dodgers always are cautious with this guy. It's not like, he's towards the bottom of the list of pitchers that you would expect to go from 3 innings, 66 pitches to 6 innings, 100 pitches and just be allowed to go do that. So that's sort of my question is, there's not a lot of good pitching on this slate, so I do still think he's a good play because simply scoring 16 DraftKings points could get it done for you. But what's the upside game for him look like? Assuming that, he's probably not throwing more than 85, 90 pitches, and he's probably not going more than 5 innings.
So much of it depends on Valdez, too. If that is not just another option as a pay up, it's one, if Framber Valdez isn't there, then Urias's depth matters so much less.
Right, because you're just running out of other, options. But even right now, if you just forget about Valdez for a second, we already talked about Urias getting not quite double the ownership of Kirby, but 1.5 times the ownership of Kirby. he's getting double the ownership of Evaldi, who's $600 more. I get that the matchup is a lot worse for Evaldi, but he's another one where he's just giving you an inning plus more than Urias so frequently that he at least has the ability to go give you a 7-8 inning, 8 to 10 strikeout game, which just does not exist for Urias, I don't think.
No, I don't think so either. Oviedo at all?
Not on the main slate, I don't think. 6,200 is a nice price tag. The Dodgers are just so good, such a tough matchup. Oviedo striking out 21% of lefties this year, 17% of righties. He's been decent at limiting production. 337 expected WOBA to lefties, 319 to righties, but pretty tough sell. I guess the case for him would be if he's getting like a lot less ownership than the other cheap guys, but right now you have similar ownership coming into Oviedo, Crawford, Nelson, Carrasco, and I think that's how it should be. They're all varying levels of talent pitcher-wise, but it's sort of offset. Like Crawford's the best one, but he's got the worst matchup of the group, or one of the worst matchups. Oviedo's probably the second best, but he's got the Dodgers. So I think they all should just be pretty similarly owned.
Okay. Let's talk bats then. 6th in top stack, 12th in top value. That would be the Dodgers. How do you feel about LA here against Oviedo?
I think they look pretty good. Oviedo, 173 expected ISO. Not terrible, but the Dodgers obviously are very, very good. That's second base outfield on DraftKings looks great. Smith's going to be one of your highest upside catchers. The other nice thing about the Dodgers is that, the top of the lineup is expensive, but you do get the Peralta, Hayward, Outman, Rojas version where you can offset some salary as well.
I'm surprised I don't have more of the Dodgers. I'm anxious to see where that shakes out by the time we get to the end of the slate, because I do have them showing up as like a team that I should be getting to more, and I'm higher on them than we are, but I'm not getting them in my lineups. Maybe it's just a cost thing. Do you like the Pirates on the opposite side against Urias?
Not particularly. They are cheap. They do have some upside, but Urias is a good pitcher overall. Very limited sample this year. If you go back to last year, 131 expected ISO to righties, 278 expected WOBA. So far this year, 170 expected ISO, 315 expected WOBA. Pittsburgh's kind of like KC to me, where if you get to them a little bit just to have, low-owned, highly leveraged Reynolds, Davis, Connor, Joe, Gonzalez, whatever it may be, then fine. But really low probability spot.
Rank the game.
Dodgers, Urias, Oviedo, Pirates.
I'll go Urias, Dodgers, Oviedo, Pirates. Favorite stacks for today? At least as of right now.
Cleveland. I don't know if I'll get to them, but I really like Baltimore. But Cleveland, Texas, Mets.
Okay. Favorite pitchers?
Valdez, if he's pitching. Somebody in chat said it's Blanco. I haven't seen that confirmed.
No, that's because it's not.
Yeah, I didn't think so. Valdez, if he's pitching. Bybee, Bradish.
All righty. Guys, thanks for being here. Fun stuff today. Adam will be back later for the deeper dive with Laffy. He will also have his Sims video a little bit later. I'll have the contenders up in about an hour. Prize Picks videos are also already out if you want to see those. That's about everything that I'll have for today. I don't have any more live content tonight, so enjoy yourselves. Good luck tonight. Thanks to Sleeper for being the sponsor. Thanks to Jordan Klein for being the producer. We are out of here.
It is Blanco. Everybody.
Just because he was called up doesn't mean he's pitching.
But the Astros are expected to recall Blanco to start Thursday.
Not you. Later, guys.